The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman and Sienna Bacall's rivalry seems poised to kick off soon. Here are 3 reasons why these characters will inevitably become enemies. 1. Sienna is keeping secrets that involve Noah. For starters, Sienna is hiding things that affect Sharon's comatose son, so that'll certainly be a source of conflict. Noah Newman has Sienna's name programmed in his phone, and she hinted about seeing him shortly before the crash happened. Sienna called Noah a friend, but she didn't stay on the phone long enough with Nick Newman to even ask about Noah's condition. Although Sienna hoped Noah was okay, she obviously couldn't hang up fast enough. Nick will have a meeting with Sienna soon and pressure her for more info, but Sharon will surely face off with her too at some point. Sharon may put Sienna through a grilling session of her own and toss some threats around if necessary. Of course, Sienna seems genuinely unsettled over Noah's accident, but she knows, or at least suspects, more than she's letting on. Since there's a good chance Sienna's long-term lover, Mitch, is tangled up in all this, she's keeping secrets that angry Sharon will want to get to the bottom of. 2. Sharon, Nick, and Sienna's love triangle could be brewing. Nick may become another source of contention for Sharon and Sienna down the road. It's clear that although Sienna isn't offering up the whole story, she's not to blame for what happened to Noah. Once the truth comes out, Nick may see Sienna in a different light and feel like she was just caught up in a bad situation. Nick loves to rescue women and could view Sienna as someone who needs rescuing from a guy like Mitch. Despite Nick and Sharon's reconnection, he may be drawn to Sienna as this storyline moves along. If that's the case, Y&R could be offering up all the makings of a love triangle that'll put Sienna and Sharon even more at odds. 3. Sharon and Sienna are nothing alike. Finally, Sienna and Sharon's clashing personalities could be a reason for any brewing hostility as well. Sharon is nothing like edgy Sienna at all, so that alone could cause some drama between them. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sienna and Sharon's rivalry could bring some surprising news, heated confrontations, and a whole lot more, so stay tuned for what's ahead for these two. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop. For Tuesday, October 21st, reveals Mariah Copeland will be stunned to see Ian Ward. Also coming up, Tessa Porter will plant a kiss on Daniel Romalotti. Plus, Phyllis Summers will be obsessed with the AI software. And Kane Ashby will attempt to make peace with Devin Winters and Abby Newman. Y&R spoilers tease Abby will complain to Devin about Phyllis's actions at the bachelorette party. She'll say she's not surprised the redhead has cozied up to Kane Ashby. Devin will badmouth Kane as the billionaire walks up behind him. "I don't mean to cause any harm," Kane will say. But Abby will remind him 3 people died on his property in Nice, including our son's father. Kane will say he's sorry, he feels awful about what happened to Chance Chancellor. Then he'll promise there will be no attacks on any company in Genoa City. "Attacks from you?" Lily Winters will ask, as she strolls up with yet another huge purse hiding her belly. Kane will ask if they can talk. "1 drink," she'll reply. So, he'll tell her the rumors she's heard about his AI software are true. "I had a vision for one giant company that would control all the companies in Genoa City." Kane will say what he wanted to do with the AI program was wrong, but it's over now. "I swear to you, I will do whatever it takes to convince you. What can I do?" Lily will say he should destroy it, but Kane will say he wants to use it for good. "I don't buy that for a second," Lily will reply. So, Kane will agree to hand the software over to her. But will it be too late? At Crimson Lights, Phyllis will frantically type on her laptop. "I'm betting on myself. Billy is a disaster. Kane is a flake," Phyllis will say. "The only one I've ever been able to count on is me, and Kane's AI program is the key." She'll tell herself she'll hold the cards. "And everyone in this town will answer to me." Meanwhile, Tessa and Daniel will walk into the GCAC and find the restaurant empty. Daniel was hoping they'd make it back for his father's bachelor party. Tessa will say she's sorry she messed this up for him, and he'll tell her not to apologize. "If you don't have to be anywhere," Tessa will reply. Maybe buy me a drink? So Tessa and Daniel will head down to the jazz club. He'll say if she needs to talk about what happened, he's there to listen. It felt like I didn't recognize her at all, she'll say. There we were, face to face, and it felt like we were a million miles apart. Tessa will say it was horrible to see how Mariah was, like a shell of herself. I feel like this place might be hurting her. Tessa will say she can't fix this, or her. She adds she wants to get drunk, but Daniel will suggest they head upstairs and get some food. As they wait for their meals, Tessa will get upset. Why did Mariah have to do this to me? She'll say. To us? She'll decide to go up to her room, but she'll stumble on the stairs, and Daniel will catch her before she falls. Then Tessa will smile at Daniel. You're holding me like you would hold a close friend, she'll say. Then she'll kiss Daniel, and he'll kiss her back. At the Boston clinic, Mariah will find the Queen of Hearts playing card that Tessa ripped in two. She'll look at a photo of her, Aria and Tessa, on her phone. Mariah will be about to call her wife, but she'll change her mind. Instead, Mariah will call her mom. Sharon will pick up and ask her daughter how she is. I'm not good, she'll reply. I'm not good, Mom. Mariah will add she thinks she'll be there longer than she thought. Sharon will say she needs to do whatever it takes to get better. Mom, do you think you could come and visit me? Mariah will ask. Sharon will hesitate because of Noah Newman, but she won't tell her daughter. So, Mariah will say it's fine. This is something she needs to do on her own. I gotta go, I love you, talk to you later, she'll add, and hang up. Finally, Mariah will cry as she holds the torn-up playing card. She'll throw it on the floor and put her face in her hands. Then a shadow will pass in front of her. Mariah will look up, and Ian will be sitting opposite her. It looks like you're in one of your moods, he'll say. Are you feeling lost and alone again, Mariah? Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. Last week on The Young and the Restless, Kyle made a romantic gesture to Claire when he approached her in LA with a bouquet of flowers. He assumed it would melt her heart, and she would instantly want him back. But she told him, for the millionth time, that she needs time on her own right now. Kyle told her he's staying in LA for a few days, but he wouldn't bother her anymore. Now that he spoke to her, why is he still hanging out in LA? When Kyle showed up in LA and approached Claire at her hotel with a bouquet of flowers in hand, she wasn't exactly thrilled to see him. She'd already told him that she needs time on her own before she can even consider committing to him. Kyle's been taking a lot of heat from fans because he won't leave Claire alone and doesn't respect her wish for space. Despite all his flaws, we've got to give him some credit here. After all the grand gestures he's made lately, there's one thing he finally did right, and it has to do with the flowers he chose for her. It's common for men to give roses to the women in their lives, but instead, Kyle chose to give Claire a vibrant, cheerful bouquet of what appeared to be multicolored daisies mixed with white ones. That choice felt fitting, since he views her as a bright light in his life and someone who overcame her dark past. He sees her as sweet, kind, innocent, and a positive influence on others. Keeping all that in mind, it feels like Kyle actually put some thought into choosing those particular flowers for Claire. They are symbolic of her personality and spirit, which are the qualities Kyle fell in love with. But now that he's seen and spoken to her, why is he remaining in LA and at the same hotel she's staying in? Doesn't he realize that might make her feel uncomfortable? Since Nick and Sharon are also in LA, hoping and praying their son Noah recovers from the car crash, will Kyle join Claire when she ultimately visits them? Since Kyle wasn't in Genoa City to give her support when her father Cole died, maybe the writers are making up for it by having Kyle be present for her now, as her cousin Noah fights to stay alive. And maybe this will help pave the way for an eventual reunion between Kyle and Claire. All we know is, since Kyle is remaining in LA, he needs something important to do. He can't just keep bothering and stalking Claire. As many fans put it, even though he said he won't bother her anymore, this is Kyle we're talking about. He may not be able to help himself. And how long is he really staying in LA? He said, a few days. But sometimes in Soapland, that's the equivalent of 3 or 4 weeks in real time. Are we going to be subjected to another month of Kyle acting like a sad, whimpering puppy around Claire? Kyle has been chomping at the bit to expose Holden as a player, a con man, or some other shady character. We still don't know for sure whether Holden is any of those things, but we know the writers have been doing a good job keeping him mysterious ever since he arrived in GC in January. At the end of Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless, we saw a sneak peek of Holden and Sienna in an intense conversation. Since soap characters have an annoying habit of eavesdropping on other people's private conversations, will Kyle find a sneaky way to listen in on this one? We suspect that Sienna and Holden were involved in Noah's accident somehow. Will Kyle be the one who solves this big mystery? And if he does, will he win points with Claire and bring himself closer to a reunion with her? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, have Phyllis placing a risky bet, Kane trying to make amends with Devon, and Tessa making a bold move. Phyllis Summers wakes up every day and tries to prove herself to her friends, her family, and the entire world. One reason she's so irrepressible and unpredictable is that she wants the world to give her her due. As a result, she's done a lot of outlandish things over the years, and she's not slowing down. On Tuesday's show, watch for Phyllis to place a risky bet. Does this have to do with her ongoing business relationship with Kane, or a desire to mar Cricket and Danny's upcoming wedding day? Kane and Devon used to be good pals, but the way Kane left Genoa City after his father, Colin, tried to make off with Devon's fortune had led to some strain in their relationship. Devon is also not happy with the way that Kane has treated Lily. On Tuesday's episode, this might all change. Watch for Kane to try to make amends with Devon. If Kane is hoping to make inroads with both Lily and their kids, Charlie and Maddie, then building a bridge with Devon might be the first step in making that happen. Mariah, despite getting some help in Boston at a clinic, is no closer to regaining her old life with her wife, Tessa, and their daughter, Aria. What's Tessa supposed to do? She's tried everything. Maybe Tessa needs to just let things unfold and let things play out the way that they're supposed to? Does this mean she'll lean into her friendship with Daniel even more? And if she does, would that mean that she and Mariah might never reunite? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, October 22nd, reveal that Sharon Newman will confess to Nick Newman while Noah Newman's double trouble causes concern. At the hospital in Los Angeles, Sharon will fret over the awful situation she's facing. Since Noah is in an induced coma and Mariah Copeland is distraught at the clinic in Boston, Sharon is feeling torn between her children right now. Although Sharon wants to be there for Mariah in person, making sure Noah's okay has to be the priority. Even so, Sharon will feel guilty about abandoning Mariah and will confess to Nick about how tough all this is. Nick will know Sharon is in a tight spot and will reassure her about being a good mom. Despite the worries they're both facing, Nick will cling to hope for the future and give Sharon a pep talk. Nevertheless, all the questions swirling about Noah's crash will continue to concern Nick as well as Sharon. Noah's facing double the trouble since he could have brain damage, and the person responsible for running him off the road hasn't been caught. That means Noah could still be at risk, and that he's been keeping some big secrets from his parents, so it's easy to see why Sharon and Nick will be on edge. Nick and Sharon will have a lot on their minds as they await updates on any news regarding Noah's condition. As for Mariah, she'll be tormented by Ian Ward's visit, even if it's only happening inside her mind. Mariah's history will come back to haunt her as this version of Ian taunts her and makes her even more miserable. Back in Genoa City, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will react to the smooch Tessa Porter just gave him. Since Daniel is a good guy who wouldn't take advantage of Tessa when she's drunk and emotionally vulnerable, he'll surely put a stop to all this before it goes any further. However, Daniel will also face a difficult choice on Wednesday's Y&R episode. That may involve what Daniel's going to do when Tessa sobers up and how he's going to handle these growing feelings of his. Daniel may feel conflicted since Tessa needs him, but it's getting harder and harder to be around her platonically. Will Daniel decide to put some distance between them or continue supporting Tessa despite the complications? The Young and the Restless, spoilers say Daniel will wrestle with his dilemma, so stay tuned to see what he does next. Welcome to The Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. What happened on The Young and the Restless? Lauren Fenmore Baldwin earned the honor of being Cricket's maid of honor all over again on today's episode of The Young and the Restless. Phyllis? Do we need to finish this story? Phyllis got wind of Cricket's bachelorette party going on in the jazz lounge and decided to crash it. The Battle of Barbs she and Cricket had at Crimson Lights last week was just an appetizer to the feast that was served up in today's episode. Before Phyllis could go in for the kill, Lauren jumped in and put some much-needed distance between the bride and her red-headed nemesis. Phyllis feels very justified in feeling the way she does about Christine. If one didn't know better, she actually might have a point. Fortunately, Lauren knows better. She's well-versed in Phyllis's myopic hatred of Cricket. Someone telling her to back off was long overdue, and it happened today. "End this grudge," Lauren ordered her friend. Phyllis fired her back with her take on the situation, but Lauren didn't let her get away with her fan fiction. "Danny and Christine are in love and they're happy," Lauren proclaimed. "Stop twisting the knife." Cricket had entered and thought a conversation and told Phyllis that she was responsible for her own choices. That really set Phyllis off, which prompted Lauren to literally get in between them. Phyllis may have buried the hatchet with Sharon, but she still has some issues with Cricket. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full recaps for The Young and the Restless on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that we've got a November sweeps preview for you, so let's discuss the huge mysteries that'll unravel along with some new love interests and exciting debuts. November will kick off with Noah Newman's coma awakening, but he'll be a bit of a Newman rebel as Lucas Adams takes over the role. Between Noah's time away and whatever brain injury issues might have changed him, he'll be an edgier character this time around. Noah will distance himself from his Newman identity, which could point to memory issues, or perhaps just a post-coma personality transformation. Either way, Y&R fans will see some tension between Noah and Nick Newman as a result. Sharon Newman will continue to worry about Noah and whatever troubling situation he's tangled up in. There'll be plenty more Los Angeles drama, so look for Sienna Bacall to be part of all that, along with Detective Burrow. The truth behind Burrow's motives and real boss will be revealed soon, so Nick and Sharon will realize their hunch about him seeming off was correct. Of course, we should also talk about Roger Howarth, since he'll be making his Y&R debut soon. Sienna recently spoke about someone named Mitch, and suggested they were partners for life, but she also seemed unsettled over not knowing where he was. Mitch could be Howarth's character, as well as the person who tried to eliminate Noah. Whatever the case, Howarth will play someone with a key connection to all the Noah chaos, so stay tuned for more story updates. In the meantime, Claire Newman will have to decide if Kyle Abbott's right about Holden Novak being bad news. Kyle will work to prove that to Claire, so will he succeed or push her further into Holden's arms? Either way, Holden's past may come into play again. Whatever Holden and Audra Charles are hiding about their time in LA could come back to haunt them through all the Mitch, Sienna, and Noah mayhem. Sharon and Nick have been growing closer throughout Noah's ordeal, but will they continue on this road to a romantic reunion? It's always tough to say when Nick and Sharon are involved, since they tend to dance around their feelings without fully exploring them. As for Victoria Newman and Nate Hastings, their own reunion seems poised to happen sooner rather than later. Nate and Victoria may find themselves back in bed together at some point during November sweeps. A wedding is also on the horizon since Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti will finally tie the knot. Plus, Devin Winters will face a surprising obstacle that spins off from Mariah Copeland, Daniel Romalotti Jr., and Tessa Porter's love triangle. That'll send Devon down an unexpected path of his own and could put his family at risk in the process. Phyllis Summers is also getting a shocking new love interest, so all signs point to her mixing business and pleasure with Kane Ashby. That'll naturally be complicated since Kane still loves Lily Winters, while Phyllis mostly just loves herself and power. As for the AI program, it may fall into Victor Newman's hands despite Kane's promise to give it to Lily. It looks like the program may be used to target the Abbotts, so Jack Abbott and his family may fight back against Victor in a big way. Finally, the Abbott Communications launch party plans will get back on track. But will things get messy due to Jill Abbott's investment? Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott's relationship could be tested all over again through the hurdles ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some twists and turns are coming up, so stick with us for more November Sweeps preview details. Once again, Phyllis lost a man to another woman. She needs to be the leading lady in her love life. On the Monday, October 20th, episode of The Young and the Restless, Phyllis had an awkward run-in with Danny and Cricket, who were throwing their joint bachelor/bachelorette party. Once again, she lost a man to another woman. It's time for Phyllis to take charge of her love life and become the leading lady. Phyllis lost another man to someone else. First, Nick and Sharon seemingly reconciled their relationship. Nick doesn't want to go back there with Phyllis again, even if they have sizzling chemistry. In fact, Phyllis has scared most of her ex-boyfriends away, because they know what it's like to be with her. She's volatile and unpredictable, which can make for a bad romance. Now, Phyllis has lost Danny to Cricket. The two are getting married soon, and Phyllis can't believe that the so-called father of her son doesn't want to be with her. What she doesn't realize is that she's mostly the problem in her relationships. She's also the other woman who inserts herself in these romances. She needs to have her own leading lady moment. Yes, Phyllis crashed out during Cricket and Danny's party. Arguably, she wasn't spiraling because of trauma. She was just being typical Phyllis. She loves pushing other people's buttons, and she loves to escape taking accountability for her failed relationships. Phyllis couldn't stop mentioning the cruel things that Cricket said to her, even though she was the one who approached Cricket and Danny at first. She claimed that Cricket was the one who stole Danny from her, while she was an innocent woman who made good choices. This proves that Phyllis hasn't learned from her relationships. She needs to find a man who's available in all ways. But this would require a little self-reflection, which she lacks. Her love life hasn't improved because she's been using the same narrative for years. Phyllis needs to realize she doesn't need to chase a man to make him love her. She needs to see herself as the leading lady in her own life. That could lead her to a man who could love all of her perks, quirks, and flaws. Here's why Phyllis needs a new love interest on Y&R. Nick and Sharon stand by Noah. The Young and the Restless. Spoilers for Wednesday, October 22nd. Force a past trauma into Mariah's present, while Tessa risks her and Daniel's future. Tessa is so upset about Mariah pushing her away that she gets drunk and comes on to Daniel. This is the only way that characters on a soap have of expressing their upsetness, so no one is surprised by her actions. Well, except Daniel. He doesn't know how to react. All he knows is that, as the sober one, it's up to him to decide what comes next and how to respond to it. Something happened with Mariah and a mysterious old guy whom she also got drunk with, but then, instead of trying to kiss, tried to kill. She didn't. We know this. Tessa and Daniel know this. Even Mariah knows this. But Mariah is still very, very upset about this. She's left Tessa and Arya and checked herself into a clinic. Surely she'll be safe there. If Mariah sees someone evil from her past, surely it's got to be a fantasy or a hallucination. He can't possibly be here with her. He's dead. He's definitely dead. How could he not be dead? Noah has been in a terrible accident that's left him fighting for his life while swatched in bandages. Sharon and Nick are by their son's bedside, praying and reciting the states, just like Sharon did when Noah was a little boy. But Nick is also digging into what happened that put his son in such a fragile position. He thought Sienna, the random woman who just happened to call Noah's phone, knows more than she's saying. So Nick is going to find out what. Young and the Restless 2-week spoilers for Oct 20/31, 2025. Expect Nick Newman confronting someone and Claire Grace Newman pushing. By the way, the last 2 days of these 2 weeks, October 30th and the 31st, are the first 2 days of November sweeps. So, we're going to have a big buildup over these 2 weeks that's going to carry us into hopefully exciting and very soapy action during sweeps. We'll see. Sometimes Y&R gives us sleeps instead of sweeps. Fingers crossed it won't be that way this year. Monday, October 20th, Danny Romalotti is having his bachelor party, and his guests are Michael Baldwin and Jack Abbott and Nate Hastings and Devin Hamilton. Meanwhile, Christine Cricket Blair's bachelorette party has Abby Newman, Diane Jenkins, Victoria Newman, Tracy Abbott, and Lauren Fenmore, and Danny thanks Jack for introducing him to Christine years ago. Psycho Phyllis Summers crashes to ruin Christine's night, even though Michael warns Phyllis to stop it and go up to her room and go to bed. She says she's not a child and then stomps down to prove that she is, in fact. Lauren stops Red and says, "Just leave now." Of course, Diane thinks Phyllis is there for trouble, but Phyllis lies and says she didn't even know there was a party going on. All the lying. Phyllis says some very nasty things to Christine, who gives it back to her as good as she gets, saying that Phyllis is crazy, can't keep a man. Jeremy Stark was the last man she had in her life. Phyllis says that Danny's gonna dump Christine, and she'll never make him happy. Phyllis then goes upstairs and lies to Danny and starts whining about how Christine is mean to her. The bachelor and bachelorette parties combine after Phyllis storms out, and then the lights go out, so everybody assumes it is Red pranking them. But Nate goes and talks to somebody and finds out it's a construction issue, and he tells Danny, who has by then run into Phyllis, while he was also checking out the blackout. Danny tells Phyllis he's worried about her and her temper fits and her behavior. So erratic. And she says she wants Danny to be happy, and she's over him. She's not obsessed with him, but she just doesn't want him with Christine. But Danny says that Cricket is his person, and Phyllis walks off, but of course creeps back later, just in time to see Danny serenading and kissing Christine. And it's all romantic, and Phyllis looks really ticked off about it. Tuesday, October 21st, we've got Kane Ashby trying to make amends with Devin. There's about a billion reasons that that's not going to go well, right? I'm guessing that Kane may apologize for the con that Colin Atkinson ran, that stole Devin's $1 billion inheritance that Kay Chancellor left him. Even though Devin eventually got it back, he hates Kane and Colin for that, and also for how Kane has treated Lily Winters. So, I bet this is not going to be a very pleasant interaction. Tessa Porter has a few too many drinks at the GCAC while upset about Mariah Copeland rejecting her. And then Tessa stumbles into Daniel Romalotti and kisses him on impulse after he catches her, and he kisses her back. However, where it goes next may not be where we expect. Phyllis does something risky on Tuesday. Maybe involves Kane. Maybe it's some more Danny and Cricket craziness, but I hope not. Wednesday, October 22nd. Mariah confronts her past. Ray Wise is back as Ian Ward. But the question is he really back, or is this Mariah thinking about him in flashbacks, or a nightmare, or a hallucination of some sort? I mean, that's all plausible. Everybody, including Mariah, thinks that Ian is dead. However, he is probably keeping an eye on her because he's obsessed. So he might come in person and slink into that clinic where she's getting inpatient treatment, and Ian may be looking for Mariah. He remains fixated on her. So, we'll see if her confronting her past is him live and in person, or just some sort of therapeutic dream or something, some kind of mental manifestation. This week, Claire is at the hospital in Los Angeles. She is coming up to see Sharon Newman and to check on how Noah Newman is doing, 'cause Victoria told her about it. And of course, he's in very bad shape. Nick and Sharon are worried for Noah. He's got brain swelling. He's got serious injuries from this terrible car accident, which appears to be no accident at all. And of course, we're waiting to see if Detective Burrow is a real detective or not. What he is real cute. If you guys didn't really get a good look at him, check out Matt Cohen next time Burrow is on, because he is such a hunk. I loved him over on General Hospital. And Daniel makes a tough choice on Wednesday, and I wonder if it's to tap the brakes with Tessa, even though Daniel is really into her. Thursday, October 23rd. Nick gets together with Sienna Bacall. Nick is going to have questions about Noah and how she knows him and why someone would be after his son. And I just wonder how much will Sienna tell Nick. It definitely sounded on the phone call with Nick that Sienna was kind of slipping up and saying that she had seen Noah recently. She's in the nightclub business in LA as well. So, I also wonder if Holden Novak knows Noah because he and Audra Charles have known each other for years in LA, and she used to date Noah as well, and Tucker McCall used to be out in LA as well. So maybe some of that stuff we've heard hinted at is finally 9, 10, 12 months later going to get, dragged back up. Talk about a slow-moving story on Young and the Restless. Phyllis catches Kane by surprise. I wonder if Phyllis is going to kiss him. Follow up on that almost kiss they had, what was it like the week before last, because they are both at very low points. Kyle Abbott tries to dig up some dirt about Holden, and he's lurking and watching Sienna and Holden talking at the hotel rooftop restaurant. Claire sees Kyle and asks what he's doing, and he tries to turn it around, and says the question is, what's Holden doing? Who is he doing it with? Claire knows who Sienna is. So, Kyle's just being Kyle. He needs to go back. Just go home. Leave her in peace. Friday, October 24th. Phyllis and Kane make sure they understand each other. This may be about whatever is going on between them is just physical. No feelings. Sienna gets interrogated by Kyle, who of course wants dirt on Holden, and Sally Spectra takes a chance on Audra on Young and the Restless, the week of October 27th through the 31st. I'm just wondering if Mariah might kill the real Ian. Kill him dead. Everybody already assumes he's dead. Can they charge you with a murder when everybody thinks the guy's dead? She basically smothered that old dude at the hotel who was an Ian proxy. So, if she gets the chance to do the real deal, she's already in a mental health facility. So, I think Mariah could plead temporary insanity and get away with it, and we'd be done with Ian once and for all. Although I do love him, Tessa and Daniel are at a fork in the road. Friends or friends with benefits or a romance or what? Nick digs deeper into what Noah was doing and who might have hurt him. Claire wants Kyle gone from LA, and she's about ready to say, just stop it, and go back to Genoa City, or I'm never going to talk to you again. That is long overdue. Holden may help Nick sort out what happened to Noah, which would buy him some goodwill among the Newmans, which would be helpful if Claire and Holden start dating. Plus, Danny and Christine are amped up for their wedding, which is coming soon. And by the way, Y&R won one of the big Emmys. Just one, though. Best Supporting Actress for Susan Walters in the role of Diane Jenkins. Congrats to her. Y&R. Spoilers, Kyle's desperate LA. LA game shifts from stalker to strategist as Sienna exposes Holden's cracks. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the battle for Claire Newman's heart has turned into a dangerous game of psychological chess in Los Angeles, and Kyle Abbott just changed his entire strategy. Kyle Abbott landed in LA with a singular, desperate goal: win Claire Newman back before her new romantic interest, Holden Novak, could solidify his place in her life. On paper, Kyle's trip was a blur of legitimate business, partner meetings, supply chain logistics, and showroom inspections, but it was all a front. From the moment he left LAX, Kyle was in full-on spy-clowning mode, an amateurish and impulsive operation to track Claire and Holden's every move. His plan, however, immediately backfired. Claire, enjoying a much-needed breather from the Newman-Abbott pressure cooker, spotted his clumsy interventions. She shut him down firmly, making it clear she didn't want or need him to protect her. Kyle's frustration mounted. Holden Novak, in his eyes, was a purposeful unknown. A man who appeared suspiciously clean, patient, and uncompetitive. Holden's no-push, no-pull attitude was the one strategy Kyle didn't know how to beat. Then Sienna arrived. Sienna blew into Kyle's hotel room like a cold wind, cutting straight to the truth. She knew he was faking his meetings, and she knew he was obsessive-compulsively tracking Claire. Their confrontation was less emotional and more of an interrogation. Sienna demanded honesty. Did Kyle want Claire, or did he just want the victory over a rival? She warned him that his signature impatience had ruined relationships before, and this time, it would only succeed in pushing Claire directly into Holden's arms. Sienna's words, combined with his own failures, forced Kyle to pivot. He realized his frantic stalking was making him the villain. If he wanted to expose Holden, he couldn't use accusations. He had to use the truth. And his first clue came from Sienna herself. Kyle witnessed a tense interaction between Sienna and Holden. The man who was always calm suddenly looked rattled. His body language was defensive, his eyes worried. Kyle knew instantly this was Holden's weak point. Sienna wasn't just a random acquaintance. She was a piece of Holden's past he desperately wanted to keep hidden. Armed with this new knowledge, Kyle's strategy evolved. He stopped being a stalker and became a producer. Instead of following Claire, he orchestrated a scenario where Claire could see the truth for herself. The setting? Claire's own nightclub, the one place in LA where she was in complete control. As spoilers indicate, the trap was set. Holden arrived, unaware he was walking onto a stage. When Sienna approached him, the undercurrent was electric. Claire, watching from a distance, saw exactly what Kyle needed her to see. She witnessed Holden's polished mask crack. His smile was awkward, his demeanor nervous. Claire is no fool. She didn't immediately run to Kyle, but the seed of doubt was planted. Why was Holden, the man defined by his calm, so terrified of this woman? Kyle has successfully shifted the narrative. He's no longer the jealous ex. He's the man who simply held up a mirror. Now Claire is the one asking the questions, and Holden is the one on the defensive. The game is far from over, but Kyle Abbott has proven that when brute force fails, he is more than willing to win through meticulous, patient manipulation. And in this new game, Sienna may be the most powerful piece on the board. The Young and the Restless, recap for Tuesday, October 21st, reveals that Ian Ward's return will stun Mariah Copeland while Kane Ashby surrenders to Lily Winter's demand. At Society, Kane will overhear Devin Winters trashing him to Abby Winters when he walks in. Lily will arrive soon after, so Kane will convince her to sit with him and make his latest "I've changed" spiel. Kane will admit he developed the AI program for the wrong reasons and will confess to his Genoa City takeover plans. However, Kane will assure Lily that he's turning things around and now wants to use the program for something good. Lily will insist the program must be destroyed instead, and will argue that handing it over to her would be a good first step toward proving Kane has changed. Kane will suggest Lily should consider it done then and will surrender to her demand. At Crimson Lights, Phyllis Summers will work on her laptop as she schemes to score control of Kane's AI and make sure she's holding all the cards in GC. At the GCAC, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will walk in with Tessa Porter after a rushed trip home from Boston. Although Daniel was hoping to make it back in time to join Danny Romalotti's bachelor party, he'll see that the bash must have wrapped up already. Tessa won't want to go home yet, so she'll get the nanny to stay with Aria Porter Copeland another night. Daniel will join Tessa for a drink in the jazz lounge and quickly realize she wants to get drunk to forget her problems. Since Tessa will be set on drowning her sorrows, Daniel will at least think she needs to get some food and drink some water too. Tessa will head to the athletic club's dining area with Daniel and guzzle more booze, but she'll remain distraught over Mariah blowing up their life together. After Tessa decides to head up to a suite, Daniel will help her since she'll be tipsy and stumbling. That'll lead to Daniel holding Tessa on the staircase, where she'll surprise him by planting a passionate kiss. At the Boston Clinic on Tuesday's Y&R episode, Mariah will consider contacting Tessa for calling Sharon Newman instead. Sharon will be by comatose Noah Newman's bedside when the call comes in, so she'll step out in the waiting area to answer it. Mariah will admit she's struggling and will give Sharon updates on Tessa's visit. After Mariah wishes Sharon could hold her and offer comfort, she'll wonder if her mom could come see her. Sharon will stammer a bit since she won't want to leave Noah, but she won't want to give the news of his crash to Mariah and worry her either. Mariah will ultimately decide it's best if she works things out on her own anyway, but Sharon will look distraught as her daughter disconnects. Mariah will cry over the playing card Tessa ripped up and sit there by herself until Ian suddenly appears sitting across from her. Ian, or at least the version Mariah has presumably cooked up in her mind, We'll ask Mariah if she's feeling lost and alone again. Genoa City is about to be rocked to its core as the truth behind Noah Newman's horrific car accident begins to surface. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that the incident that nearly claimed his life was no mere mishap. It was a calculated, cold-blooded attack that has set a devastating chain of events in motion. Noah's car was deliberately driven off the edge of a cliff, and as he fights for his life, his mother, Sharon Newman, is fighting for answers. Devastated and convinced this was an act of malice, Sharon is tirelessly working to piece together the fractured story of that fateful night, demanding the police accelerate their investigation to find the monster responsible for this brutal assault on her son. She isn't the only parent on the warpath. Nick Newman, ever the protector, is consumed by a desire for his own brand of justice. Feeling a deep sense of helplessness, Nick's anger is matched only by his thirst for vengeance, and he is prepared to do whatever it takes to make those responsible pay. The investigation is pointing toward a new enigmatic villain named Mitch. His involvement with Sienna Beale has already piqued curiosity, but their alliance clearly masks a much darker purpose. Mitch, a name now whispered in the dark corners of Genoa City, is the prime suspect in masterminding the attack. While his precise motives for targeting Noah remain unclear, his connection to Sienna suggests their motivations are both personal and incredibly dangerous. As if Mitch weren't enough, the looming return of an old foe, Roger Howard, promises to deepen the mystery, tangling the web of conspiracy even further. This attack will not go unanswered by the head of the Newman family. When Victor Newman, whose protective instincts for his grandchildren are unparalleled, learns the truth, his rage will be a force to be reckoned with. Spoilers indicate Victor is already mobilizing his vast resources to track down the individuals responsible, vowing to protect his family at all costs. The question isn't if Victor will find the truth, but how far he is willing to go to exact justice for Noah. While his family wages war on his behalf, Noah is fighting a different battle entirely. His recovery is fraught with complications. The traumatic brain injury has left him with fragmented memories and the terrifying possibility of amnesia. But the physical scars pale in comparison to the psychological ones. The kind-hearted, optimistic Noah that Genoa City knew is gone. In his place is a man questioning his own values, struggling with his identity, and drifting toward a new, questionable group of friends. This personality shift is terrifying Sharon and Nick. As they watch their son gravitate toward these toxic new influences, they are forced to face the possibility that the trauma has unlocked a darker side of Noah, one they can't control. As Noah spirals, his family must race against time, not just to find his attacker, but to save him from himself.